is considered anti-Trump by Mitch McConnell and all of his gang of, unfortunately, Republicans who have sold their country out.
Yeah, don't hold your breath on that, Joe, waiting for them, though. I mean, the congressman, as you pointed out, 4 points in that Twitter feed. 4 points. The fourth, arguably, is the most important. How many members of Congress have actually read this report thoroughly and thought about what is in the report? Because if you read Volume 2, the specific volume that addresses potential obstruction of justice, it is clear by any measure, by any standard, that the President of the United States attempted on several occasions to obstruct justice. And if you read Volume 1 thoroughly, I mean, the indications of coercion and cooperation with a foreign government, our sworn enemy, it's all pretty clear. But Congressman Amish's voice is a pretty lonely voice on that side of the aisle, Joe. And for the life of me, these people clearly have lost track of the fact that history is recording what they are not saying, and they will be responsible for their own history in this, for not speaking up in a common sense way, not in an accusatory way, just an acceptance of what is in that report.
Right. Well, and they'll also be held responsible for the bankrupting of America. When Republicans took control of Congress in 2001, there was a $5.7 trillion debt. There was a $155 billion surplus. By the time they left Washington in 2009, the debt had doubled, had the largest deficit in U.S. history. They promised, if you give us another chance, we'll clean it up next time. And here we are, biggest deficits ever in an expanding economy. The debt is over $22 trillion. And Sam Stein, it just leads me to where Nick Gillespie with Reason Magazine went this weekend, saying this guy needs to run as a libertarian for president of the United States. And it's so funny, I go around, in conversations when I'm talking about my former Republican Party, and I said, I literally do not have a party. I went to Washington as a small government conservative to balance the budget, to pay down the debt, to save Social Security and Medicare for future generations, to be responsible, to spend only as much as we needed to spend, and to be efficient with taxpayers' dollars. Nobody in Washington, other than Justin Amash and a few other people, feel that way anymore. And I'm just wondering if he could run the type of campaign without the insanity that Ross Perot ran in 1992, talking about deficits, talking about debt, talking about small government. I can tell you, whoever runs that campaign has my vote and the vote of millions of people if he runs as a libertarian.
Well, it gets to something that's been talked about a lot, which is that Trump's vulnerabilities are not in the middle necessarily, at least when it comes to his own party. It's on the right. It's among the sort of ideologically firm, the Justin Amashes of the world. And yeah, there is an opening there, but no one appears willing to take it. I think it says a lot about Trump that no one's willing to take it. If you look at these tweets, for instance, the ridiculing of Justin Amash, and not just that, the way he went after Fox News. He expects subservience from everything that he believes is part of the broader Republican universe, and to a large degree he's gotten it. I want to just say this about Congressman Amash. The most interesting thing to me was the fact that this tweet came yesterday. I mean, the Mueller report has been out since April 18th. Yesterday was May 19th. He took his time. He read the report. He did his homework.
But it hasn't been completely out.
Well, you're right. Sorry, the unredacted portions of it. But my point is the same, which is that this was not, contrary to what Trump said, this was not a reactive tweet storm from Justin Amash in order to get attention. He clearly took his time and read the report and thought about this in a substantive way. And ironically, the person that he probably puts the most pressure on in doing this is not Trump, but Nancy Pelosi. And you're talking to, I hope you ask her about this, because how can you, as the Speaker of the House, read a tweet storm like this from a conservative member of Congress and still sit there and be like, you know, there's just not a bipartisan push for this. The elements aren't there. When, in fact, there is now definitionally a bipartisan
Well,
support.
got that on my list.
One.
I don't think one Republican.
Okay, but I stand by the idea. I stand by the idea that this does put a little pressure on Pelosi.
I agree. We broad brush a lot of things in news because there's so much going on, which is what the president wants. So I just want to point out part of his branding exercise with the Mueller report is to make everyone believe that everyone has seen every word of it.
And he
it's
has not
exoneration.
read, of the people who have not read the Mueller report, I believe
So-
Donald Trump probably has not read the entirety of the Mueller report.
But I mean, he wants people to believe it's over and behind him. He actually, in his mind, the way he thinks, I think he thinks it's behind him. It is not. Here's how Kevin McCarthy, by the way, responded to Congressman Amash.
You've got to understand Justin Amash. He's been in Congress quite some time. I think he's only ever asked one question in all the committees that he's been in. He votes more with Nancy Pelosi than he ever votes with me. It's a question whether he's even in our Republican conference as a whole. He had a very hard time winning in the last election, so I wonder maybe he wants some type of exit strategy. But it's very disturbing. This is exactly what you would expect from Justin. He never supported the president, and I think he's just looking for attention.
So, Joe, while Amash frequently stands apart from other Republicans in his rhetoric and criticism of the president's behavior, his votes have lined up with the Trump position more often than not. So that is just a lie. According to 538. Go ahead.
No, he's just lying. It's unbelievable that Kevin McCarthy, hey, Republicans, your leader is lying about a fellow member who spoke his mind. Hey, members, Republican members, now put that back up. I want everybody to see what a liar Kevin McCarthy is talking about, as a leader, about a member of his caucus who said publicly what the overwhelming majority of Republicans say privately every single day. His career voting record with Donald Trump is over 60%. And he lied. Kevin McCarthy lied about it. And you know, it's very interesting. Kevin McCarthy, behind closed doors, remember this? Oh, by the way, look at his lifetime ACU rating. This doesn't really matter to Trumpists. Club for Growth, 99%. God bless you, Justin. A small government conservative. There's one left in Washington, D.C. Americans for Prosperity, 94%. And I'm not even reading ACU or Heritage Action because they've been overtaken by Trumpists. So they will put some scores down there based on your loyalty to Donald Trump. But the people who are still independent, Club for Growth, 99%. Americans for Prosperity, 94%. So, but what's so interesting is that Kevin McCarthy, just like Sam Stein, I think you'll remember this, just like so many other Republicans who trashed Donald Trump by the day behind closed doors, wasn't it Kevin McCarthy that was talking about Donald Trump's connection with Vladimir Putin, and he was curious about Rohrabacher.
Him and Dana Rohrabacher,
Him and Dana Rohrabacher were talking about privately behind closed doors. Somebody recorded it, I think, about his concerns about Donald Trump's connections with Vladimir Putin. And now he's the hypocrite that goes on TV and actually says, I don't think he ever supported Donald Trump.
It's
ridiculous. I wonder if he ever supported Donald Trump, said that Donald Trump might be guilty of treason.
No, it's totally ridiculous. And, you know, it just goes to show you the subservience to Donald Trump is immense and pervasive. This is the guy who was running the House Republican Party.
Public.
And he just threw his member under the bus. He just threw his member under the bus, just for the hell of it.
And the thing is, Sam, it's only public.
Totally.
They all trash Donald Trump behind closed doors. They all know that these offenses are impeachable. They all say it behind closed doors, but turn on the cameras and they become cowards. Justin isn't, and he's getting trashed by his leader.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if any House Republican will step up and defend Justin Amash. I know Mitt Romney did a little bit to a degree on the Sunday shows yesterday, but you know, Mitt sort of in his own class too. I mean, we're talking about on our own. You can count them on your own hand how many people are willing to at least go publicly and say things that are mildly critical of Donald Trump. Which, to Joe's point, they all, to a person,